for the, just as a reminder, this group had rules of procedure that were from 2017, and for the most part, they were still valid, but there were a couple things that we just don't do the same way as we did in 2017. So I thought it would be a good time for us to update them, or for you guys to update them. So this is the draft. This is the existing rules of procedure, and the red is the proposed changes. So obviously changing the year to 2023. And then this first part, organizational meeting, just establishes that you guys will have a meeting every January to establish your rules, and acknowledge that the town board has appointed a chairperson. That was one of our changes, that it had originally said elect a chairperson, but under the town code, the town board actually appoints a chairperson. So this group just would acknowledge that the town board has appointed somebody. But you do have the right to elect your own vice chairperson, and designate your own recording secretary. And then of course you establish your own schedule for the year, and then adopt these rules of procedures. But the only changes were the what's in red, that you would acknowledge what the town board appointed, and then you get to pick your recording secretary. We changed the word from election of the recording secretary to designation, because you're not electing someone necessarily from your own membership. As you all know, Kim's not an ag member, and we didn't think that that had to be the case if you wanted to, appoint someone who was not a member. So we just wanted the rules of procedure to match what it says in town code. The next section is meeting agendas. It just basically says that you need time to prepare an agenda. So if someone wants to suggest to the chair that there be an item added, it needs to be done 10 days prior to the meeting. And that the development office, which is not really a development office, it's kind of the town manager's office now, but that's not really that important. But town staff will help that, help establish that. Although Kim, you kind of fall in the development office too, so it still works. So there wasn't really a need to change the language in this section. Meeting schedule, we updated that. The changes in red show that you guys meet on the second Thursday of the month, not the first. And therefore we shifted that all optional second meeting from the third to the fourth, so that it would be second and fourth Thursdays if you ever wanted a double meeting. Everything else is still the same. Open meeting laws, that we have to have a notice to the public if you change something, and the meetings are at 6 p.m. It doesn't show a location, but that's okay. We have a code of ethics in the town code, so that's what this ethics section is referring to. Privilege of the floor just means that a member of the public has a right to address the board, and they can be given that time by the chair during a meeting, but they should only get 5 minutes unless the chair says they should get more. Order of business, I know we talked about this at the January meeting, that we don't really identify these items at every meeting, but I think we all kind of agreed that you guys tend to kind of cover most of these topics anyway, at, if not every meeting, often during meetings when we talk about other stuff going on in the town. And you do get referrals from multiple different places. Usually it's coming from the town board, but occasionally it's coming from the planning board or the planning review committee. So I think as long as you guys agree, I think the only change is that we added the ordinance committee onto this, because we didn't have an ordinance committee the first time you guys did your rules of procedure. So when you guys review new laws or changes to existing laws, it's usually coming from the ordinance committee before it gets to the town board. The rest of that section just talks about just the rest of proceedings of the meeting. Everybody needs to behave, and the chair can change the rules, the order of the topics in the meeting, and so forth. Motions and resolutions, you're all familiar with it. You guys do a pretty good job with that during meetings. It does mention you need to have 3 members present to have a quorum. That's still the same under the changes that were made to the Ag Committee law last year. Minute section's pretty straightforward. We need to have them and they need to be shared. And I think we're almost down at the end here. Yeah. So annual report, that's not changed. We probably need to try a little harder to get these in on time. I know we did it in January this year. And then that's it. And then this last section in red is just kind of a history of the rules of procedure. We have started to do this with all town policies and procedures this year. A history of adoption, amendments, and readoptions is being added to the end of every policy, just to kind of show what has happened with that over time, when it was first developed, and then, you know, when it was changed or if it was changed, when that happened. So I added that for this. This one's short and sweet. You've only done it twice. So that's it for proposed changes.
And we have to vote on the changes, Sarah?
Yes, or if you want me to make any other changes. I mean, I just changed the practical things that made sense, made it match with what you guys do or what actually happens or the rules. Other than that, it's fine the way it is, unless you guys want to change anything else. Excuse me.
I propose to go for as they're written.
Second. Or third.
With the proposed changes, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor of going ahead with the proposed changes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey, Tim.
Good evening.
All right, I'll make sure these get updated and then I'll add them to your web page, your page on the town's website. And then I'll email a copy to everybody so you can just have it, a copy of the edited, revised version.
Did you have anything else for us, Sarah, before we go to the referral and any other new business?
I do have a couple comments and feedback from Lindsay about the idea of having an event later this year, but
Okay.
we don't have to talk about it now. We can talk about it whenever you want.
Oh, we can go to that now. It's on the agenda, so.
Was it on the agenda? I don't want to force
Yes,
it.
it is.
Yeah.
Did you guys you talked about it a little bit at the February meeting, right? I watched that video.
Yeah, but I think there hadn't really been a whole lot of progress. And you weren't, maybe you hadn't talked to her yet.
Yeah,
so.
I hadn't. That was right in the middle of when I had to be gone.
Yeah.
So I did talk to Lindsay. I didn't talk to her till last week. But like I figured, she's all for it. Any kind of fun event to get people into the parks is always a good idea, according to Lindsay. So she loved the idea. She had some of her own suggestions too. She was just kind of talking through it, but her preference would be to hold this at Outhouse Park. She said it's a perfect venue for gathering with food and even potentially having vendors or additional like food trucks and stuff if you wanted to widen out your vendors to that. There's power and it's flat and, you know, so it makes it easy to get in and out of. We were talking about different groups or people that you could invite, and I don't have my notes with me from our January meeting, so I can't compare what we talked about then with what I have written on my little reminder. But she and I were talking about ideas. You know, we could invite the culinary students from FLCC. If there was a way to have local products, agricultural products, and then have them prepare it, you know, as food or samples. Similarly, we were talking about you could invite the New York Kitchen to be a part of that in a similar way, as a way to, like prepare local products using local agricultural products to make samples or a meal or snacks or whatever. Wegmans, obviously Wegmans has a farm in the town, so we could invite them as well. I know they're often very charitable and giving, and they may be willing to participate or help us. She also talked about, maybe it could be part farmers market too. If people were interested in bringing products to sell. And then she also mentioned that her parks, at least one of her parks employees used to work for Wegmans Organic Farm. So they may still have contacts there if you wanted to invite them. And I apologize, I don't have my notes from January. I know we mentioned other stuff. I just can't remember what. But short story is, yes, Parks Department would be more than happy to host an event with local farmers and farm products at a town park. I think we had talked about late summer or fall when things are coming in from the harvest rather than like spring. She had initially said spring, but I said I didn't know if that would work as well.
So probably would be a good idea to invite her to a meeting sometime to discuss.
Yeah, I'm sure she would come.
Now, other than vegetables and milk, do we? No, yeah, we have a couple of beef farms in the town, so yeah, we can definitely do a good sampling of. Try to, whether you do it with a competition of just invite chefs to work out, and we put in or donations put in the local food, but I think just having that big of a location, that would be good.
Yeah, and and we can go beyond just like sweet corn and beef and vegetables. I mean, we have maple producers, maybe. I don't know on a large scale. We have people who have honey, cut flowers, all kinds of stuff. So, and that's where she was saying, well, we could make it like a market too. If there's products, even if there's products you wouldn't eat that they could bring to sell, like bouquets or lavender or, things like that.
Would you do a tent? What would you
We
do
could-
weather-wise?
We could
Well,
do it.
in
Yeah.
Onanda, they have a big room.
At Outhouse, we have
Outhouse.
Outhouse.
Outhouse has the pavilion that's not, and then
We have the lodge as well.
that'd be pretty small though.
But I mean, we can use a tent. I mean, we can make it work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's a great
it-
idea.
Yeah, the difficulty is predicting how many people you might get and
Right.
Yeah.
coming up with enough, if you're just trying to use local food, coming up with enough and predicting what you're gonna need is gonna be difficult.
Right. And I think that's why Lindsay was saying, well, what if we made it like a farmer's market with the bonus of having the potential to have some sort of food event, whether it's something you could buy to eat, products that you could buy to eat, or if it was someone who could make something with those products. We can also consider piggybacking on other existing events. I mean, we do music in the park in late summer, sometimes in August. There's movies in the park, and they're all at Outhouse. And they draw a large crowd, so you could piggyback off of that and have this be in combination with that if you were worried about having enough of a draw just with this event alone.
Well, the concern is having the right amount of product, right? Because local food is not gonna be cheap or easy to source enough to be consistent. We're just gonna have to take a risk on the first one and then assess from there.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that this would be a learning. I mean, maybe that's even more of a reason to piggyback off of another event too.
I had a question. Is this event just like at parks, or did you think about maybe, because I know the fairgrounds are trying to have people come out and use the buildings in the off season, maybe that could be an option too, or I don't know,
Yeah.
just throwing it out there.
Yeah, that could be an alternative location. I know we had talked to Lindsay because it's our parks and we have facilities and it doesn't cost anything for us to use it.
One nice thing about Outhouse is that the traffic coming through there is so enormous that I've been on parks and we've done concerts and movies. And just driving by, people will stop in. The traffic's pretty heavy there. So if you wanted exposure, especially for your first one, that might be a better spot to draw people in. Plus, there's gonna be a big digital sign on the corner there that they can advertise like crazy.
Yeah, and hopefully that would be in place before this event.
So then what we need to spend a little bit of time really defining is what we want the event to be. And we know the goal is to promote local agriculture, make people aware of what is produced in their town. If the best way to do it through a competition of chefs cooking with local products, or is it farmers market just for the town, or is it, what is the best way to make aware of all the people of what's going on? Now that we have the location checked, that will be next step, right?
I'm
Yeah,
not a very good event person, so I need some input from people that are good at that.
I'll tell you, if you park a couple of cows out where people driving by can see them, that they'll
They'll stop.
flock in.
Lindsay
Flock.
already said animals are fine.
Yeah, they'll flock in for that.
Well, we have a 10-foot wide trail paved that we just put in all around the park. So you could get a vehicle down the hill and set up a pen. She already said they can have a petting zoo. So,
One comment I'd like to make, I've always wanted to view a big poster or an article that states every single type of agricultural product that's produced in Ontario County, and also could break it down further for specifically Canandaigua, and how many, like the average acreage of this particular crop, and the amount of dairy cows that are in the town, how many beef cows are in the town, and a list of all the different crops that are grown right here. That's something I've been trying to find for a while, and wondered if anybody else shared that same desire. I think that would be a cool thing to present at an event like that.
I've
So you
seen-
started a list like that, right? Sarah, you started collecting all the information of anyone that had any farming operations, and it became a
Yeah,
little
so-
bit harder than we thought it was gonna be.
it was. So there's two. The county puts together a list of producers in Ontario County, and it's not comprehensive. It's probably not 100% of everybody, but it's a pretty lengthy list, and it's everything from things we eat to, I mean, it's straw, beef, corn, etc., hay, all of it. But it's for the whole county, and you can get that on, I think it's Cooperative Extension. And I think they update it every year, and sometimes they hand out pamphlets, like we have some in the town hall. If they don't update it every year, they do it every few years. So there is something like that. It's not like a poster, like you said, Tim, but you could probably use that information to create like a one-page kind of thing with stats. And then, yeah, we did try and make something like that several years ago for the town only. And we do have a short list on the town's website from the ag page. And it's basically the ones I could find. And I used the county's list and then just talked to everybody in this committee. Like your dad was, one of them. He's like, oh, add this person and add that person. So, we still have it. It's still the same table. I haven't taken a look at it in a couple years, so it probably needs to be updated. I would love to see something like that. I mean, if you guys wanted to put together some statistics, and I think town specific might be more interesting for people because there's a lot of county information, but everybody likes to see their own stuff, right? So if we could gather some statistics about town agriculture that are interesting and informative, we could make a poster that could be set up at any event like this, something we would keep that we could reuse, and then maybe update it every 2-3 years.
if we're gonna put the effort to do this, we should try to do it before fair, because we're always looking for what to have in the fair.
right? Yeah,
Representing the town, and this will be a good poster for that.
yeah, you guys gather the information. I can help get it together, or if you want to make it, I can get it printed. I mean, it's a small budget item.
Tim,
Alrighty,
can we assign that to you since you brought that up? You don't want to talk.
I'd
now.
say that's fair and appropriate. I can take on that challenge.
I think like FSA would probably have a lot of that information as far as, you know, what products or amount. I don't know how specific we want, if we're making a poster from use year to year, I don't know how specific we want to get on acreage or anything, because that could change from time to time, but
Gotcha.
we gather a lot, we can whittle it back if we need to.
Right, and I
could,
figure
and you
that's
could-
probably a good place to look, a good place
You
to
could-
start.
You could round it, I mean, so that if it changed by a few hundred acres this way or that way, you wouldn't have to get a brand new poster, and maybe leave like farm family names off, but focus on like the type of farming or the number of different types of farming, so that it would be a little more forgiving when things change.
Okay,
I'll help you, bud.
all right.
Yeah, I love informational stuff like that. I like posters. I like stuff we can reuse, that we can set up, that just lets people kind of look, that we can have at events or put on the website or share it in the newsletter or say, hey, did you know this? This is cool. Look at this.
And also to comment, going back to what you mentioned earlier, like maple syrup and honey. That's something that I don't think everybody thinks about as often as they could. And I've always been curious how much maple syrup is produced here in the town and how much honey.
Yeah.
I got a question. Does everybody know everybody who's here?
No, I was thinking that we should, we finish this up, we'll go around quick and do introductions, because we have some new people.
We just went through the procedures and it's step one and we skipped it.
Yeah.
I know.
Everybody knows everybody, right?
Do you wanna, Sarah, do you wanna invite Lindsay to our next meeting or see when she would be available?
Sure. Yeah, I can see if she wants to come to the April meeting.
Yeah, we'll look ahead here.
Is there anything you want her to find out before she comes? Any questions?
Well, if she has the calendar of when they have their events, their music and movies, and
The Parks is gonna do a concert on July 12th. August 9th. And then a movie night on August 18th.
Okay. Yeah, so those nights would be nights when there's already going to be, you can assume there will be a large crowd there, because those events have drawn large crowds in the past 2 years.
we will probably try to be doing it before that event or during.
You could probably do it. So when they do those, they do sometimes invite food trucks, and they invite the food trucks to come and open up before the music or the movie starts. So yeah, you could do it before, because these are usually evening events.
One thing you have to bear in mind if you use an outhouse around that time of the year is there's also soccer. So sometimes it's jammed there, so.
We do get those schedules though, so we would make
Yeah.
sure to plan around it. And you don't have to do it on a night that they're doing that. It just would take care of the concern that you wouldn't get as many people. But I mean, the farmer's market in the city gets pretty good traffic. So if you advertised it like a farmer's market with other things, you know, and maybe held it at a time like on a weekend, you might be able to get enough traffic to do it solo, but these are things we can,
The only
toss
problem is
around.
that we have had challenges advertising in the past, right? We're
Yep.
none of us are necessarily very good at that, so anywhere that we can go where the people is already there, it's probably gonna be easier.
so those are things you'll just have to consider. I don't think you have to decide that right now. So I'll and see if she wants to come. I'll mention to her these ideas of sharing a time or maybe doing it alone, and I'll see if she can kind of brainstorm some stuff before she comes. And see what she comes up with too.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we might as well do some introductions quick since we skipped our procedures. We have new people.
Yeah.
You go first.
Well, I'll start. I think Samantha is the only one that I have not met in person, but Fernando Sobran, resident of the town, been in this committee since it began in 2017.
Bob DiCarlo, and I know all of you. I met David tonight finally, so.
I'm Dave Sauter. I'm on the town board. I was hoping to be part of this committee, but the bylaws won't let me be, but I plan, as long as you guys don't get sick of me on attending. Fernando and I are neighbors, so we have a couple farms. And it's just an interest, and my personal interest is to preservation of farmland, not housing tracts. So we'll do everything we can to help you guys.
I think we'll let you in.
Okay.
I'm Ray Henry. I've been on this committee since the beginning. And I'm past historian.
Kim Burkhardt, I'm the recording secretary.
She's also the chair of our environmental conservation board, so she can
That is
bring
true.
that. She can wear that hat sometimes too.
Hmm.
They share a lot of the views of this group, so.
And that's everyone in this room. Tim Riley said he was not feeling good, so he's not been able to attend. Sarah
I'll
and
go.
Tim, if you guys want to go.
Yeah, I'm Sarah Reynolds. I work for the town. I work with the town manager. I've been supporting and attending this group since it began in 2017 in various roles. I'm the cheerleader, I'm the helper. And I also work with our farmland protection program with the farmers when they apply to do the PDR and stuff. So, yeah.
I guess I will go next unless Timmy you want to. Doesn't matter.
All yours.
All right. So I'm Samantha. I'm Tim's sister. I work at Canandaigua National. Just like Timmy, I grew up on our dad's farm, and I used to work for Bob, so I know him. I got away from ag a little bit, and I missed it, so I want to get back into it and hope that I can be on this committee. I'm not on it yet, but I've been attending the meetings.
Good.
I'm Tim Stryker. So I grew up on my family's grain and hay farm right here in Canandaigua. That's where I am still employed. I came back full-time to the farm after college. I studied agricultural business at SUNY Morrisville. I've been a part of this committee. I'm basically fresh this year as an actual member, but I've been to several meetings in the past as an unofficial member, just as a spectator. I feel it's an important organization to be a part of. Helps me stay informed, as well as,
How's your dad?
oh, he's hanging in there. He's
Good.
hanging in there. And I know all of you folks except for Dave, who's in attendance there. Hello, Dave. So, yeah, yep, that's it.
So we need to get Samantha on the town board agenda for approval, correct, Sarah?
Yeah, so all the members are appointed by the town board, and they can be done, that can be done at the recommendation of this committee. So we could put it before the town board as early as the March meeting if you want. If the group, I mean, I guess you'd have to make a motion and then we'd have a record of it, and then I can write that in the resolution that would be recommending her appointment.
I make a motion that Samantha Stryker become a member of our committee.
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed? All right,
So Samantha, the process is that the next town board meeting is on March 20th, and it's up to them, but we usually draft a resolution that they can consider and pass if they agree, or they'll deny it if they don't agree. But either way, we can present it to them as a recommendation from the Ag Committee, and then you would find out the next day on March 21st. And then if you're appointed, then you're a full member with voting rights, and you would come to the April meeting as a member.
Cool. I'm excited. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So if you wanna open up the referral.
Oh, I'll stop sharing.
You may have to start sharing so Tim and
Yep.
Samantha can see which.
Kim, you have it, or you want me to do it?
It's up here.
Okay.
what'd you say, March, what?
For the board meeting, March 20th.
So do you have the write-up? Just, I mean, we're assuming we were talking 20 acres and so, but if you have the actual.
I don't, I forgot to prepare it. I'm sorry. So I told Bob the other day that I forgot. I will prepare it after the fact, but when I looked at Encore, and you can kind of see it on this map, there's a section of the parcel that is farmed and there's a section that's wooded, and obviously they're putting the house, or they're proposing to put the house on the section that looks like it's farmed. And they didn't list on the ag data statement who's farming it, but they listed that they listed your guys' stuff, and then a couple other people as being within 500 feet.
And it's fully in the right? There is not anything that they're asking for out of ordinance, but at the end of the day, our job is, does it lose agricultural land? And my vote, based on what I saw there on the website, this will represent the loss of agricultural land.
yeah, that's pretty straightforward.
And this reminds me that the agricultural data statement that they use probably needs to be edited, because it asks the question, is the property, is the subject property currently being farmed, yes or no? And then the next question is, list all farming activities or farming operations within 500 feet of the subject property. But it never says list, if it's being farmed, list the farmer and what they're doing, just for informational purposes. I don't know if that would that help your decisions, or does it make a difference if you know who's farming and what's being done, rather than just saying, yes, it's farmed, or no, it's not?
So far, of all the ones that we have evaluated, the only time that it was helpful to really talk with the person farming it was that small solar array in the southern part of the town, when the farmer came and said, I cannot get anything out of that section of the field because it's all wet and this is, and he really explained the situation. Other than that, I don't think that we would have changed our decision in just about any other.
The soil's decent there, right? This is,
Yeah, yeah.
Is this the land that's for sale right by Buffalo Street and 5 and 20 and like down that part of it? So I get my bearings right?
right across from that, you know, that large log home that's, it would be to the,
Yeah.
yeah, it's right
Okay.
across from them.
Okay.
So it's not the last parcel that makes the corner between Buffalo Extension and 5 and 20, but it's the next one.
Okay.
You wanna make? a
What's
motion?
the green spot?
That's the leach field.
No, the,
This one over here?
Rain garden,
no,
What, is that
Um,
wetlands? Is
Oh,
that-
this one?
that's
yeah.
rain garden.
Rain garden.
oh, okay.
Yeah, they're proposing to have all the rainwater flow this way for a rain garden, but this is their septic and their leach field.
Okay, thank
They are moving a fair amount of dirt
Mhm.
in there, so they're definitely gonna be disturbing.
So just to get my thoughts straight here. What else are they planning to do with this property? So they want to build a pole barn. And how much or how many acres is that supposed to take up? How much space is this leach field and the pole barn? How much is this supposed to take up?
Can't read it. I don't think that we have the specific information. If in the application, I didn't read anything of what they intended to do with the rest of the land. The application only focused on their intent to build a house. Dave was saying that he spoke with them and they were planning on grazing cattle around them. or
No,
something.
yeah.
Oh, Bob, sorry, Bob.
He had talked about trying to farm some around it or graze some cattle around it, but you're still putting a house and pole barn in the middle of the field, so it's gonna significantly reduce your amount of farmland.
Are they planning on taking down the woods there around that? There is trees, right? So like,
There's some wetland in there though too, so I don't really know. Well, Sucker Brook runs through there, so I don't think they could probably do a whole lot with
But
that.
that's the part in the bottom, right?
Yeah,
Is all that cross hatching, is that all wetland?
I
There,
think so.
I mean, that,
yeah.
where Sucker Brook comes through. So that's a big chunk of that
It's
woods.
quite a bit of it there.
Federal wetlands. is
Yeah.
the-
Yeah, and then that little like
I didn't
wiggly
read that.
green line denotes the area that's wooded.
Now, he actually came to the ECB meeting and they weren't going to take down the trees. He talked about cleaning up some garbage trees, and I think it was mostly ash that had died. And then he talked about keeping farmland to the bottom of the parcel down in here. But I don't have more details than that.
So is he planning on leave what looks like the forest part, crosshatch? Is he plan on leaving that?
That's what he said in the ECB, that he was going to leave this mostly as is.
Isn't that federal wetland?
Yeah.
So he's not doing anything with that. He's doing
Yeah.
that because he has to.
That's very
right?
kind of him.
Yeah.
Okay,
I would make the motion that this will represent the loss of agricultural land. Even if he farms the bottom part, you have problems with access, because now you can only access it from 5 and 20. Not the best place to be moving heavy equipment. And it's still gonna take more than half of the tillable acreage in that lot.
I'll second that. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Okay,
was there a nay?
No,
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 Mr.
there is a
Randy just
high.
said yes, yeah.
Hi.
I didn't have anything else.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything?
No, I guess just based on past experience, now that we have a good location to do this event and promote things, let's just start really thinking about the options we have to make it feasible. I guess we have had really big ideas in the past that we were not able to ground.
We try, but
Yeah, but they were maybe too big of an idea.
Yeah.
So how can we put together those local farmers, local producers to promote them? What is the best way that will attract both public and farmers, right? Because we cannot expect that they will come just because.
It sounds like we have a good location. A lot of the trouble was location at the fair
Mm-hmm.
and maybe, and I don't know, we did talk about the fair a little bit that, we may not want to do anything there because that doesn't seem to work out very well. And if we have a good location and some help from, Parks Committee or, Parks Department, that we might want to spend our time
And
trying
if,
to do that.
I can't speak for the Parks Committee, but I was on it. This is the kind of thing that they like to do, that we like to do, so they'll pitch in. The Parks Committee will help as well as the town parks, right? I mean, yeah,
Like I said, they might have people that are a little bit better at doing this kind of stuff too, so.
they do, yeah, I mean, but Lindsay's pretty good, Sarah's pretty good,
Yeah.
you know, so that it's most about getting the word out, you know, that's all it is. And I'm just telling you, if you park a cow out where people can drive by it, there's, I mean, you'll get because you have those neighborhoods that are all around it.
Yeah,
Like,
because
people
well,
come.
I live up in Old Brookside and
Yeah.
you walk down there.
Right, exactly, right, yeah, yeah,
well, the part that we need to really come up with is a good idea of, okay,
what's the
Parks is
best,
gonna bring the people.
right,
How are we
What-
gonna explain the importance of agriculture so that they are not bothered by the smell, bothered by the tractors? Because I know last time I saw your dad putting the combine going right there in the parking lot of Hop House to go harvest in front. And some kids just love to see the big machines, and then some people get bothered because they have to wait for the machine to go. So how do we really take advantage of explaining things to people and the importance of having agriculture around, right?
Bring some of those big machines.
right.
Yep,
Well,
it's a,
Probably not in the fall, right? But
it's a public park, so I figured
yeah,
might as
No,
well
you're right.
use it to get to that one field. I was only gonna be in there for maybe 5 minutes if everything went right.
and you're in the
Fucking better,
full
right?
right? But it's important for people to understand that when you're driving that machine in the road, hey, this is important for the town. So just slow down and be happy. Don't just be upset that you're having to slow down because the machine cannot go any faster. So
Mhm.
that's the part of things that we need to come up with ideas of, okay, they're gonna bring the people. Now, how
Yeah.
do we
Just
communicate?
a thought.
oh.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
I mean, going back on like Dad's combine, what if like you do like a little ride thing, like at this park, like cause Dad's field's right across the street. So like what if like people like go up, climb in it, somebody either like Dad or Tim drives them around and they're able to like see, oh wow, this big piece of machinery does go so slow. Maybe like I need to be more aware of type thing. I don't know.
I don't know as if I'd go for a ride like that.
But
Yeah, I
along
think that-
those
I think
lines,
that-
what
I mean,
if you
Sarah's
brought
probably
one that
saying the
people could
same
look
thing.
at?
The town's not gonna bite on rides, but you could park one there and,
Yeah.
I mean, any kind of equipment gets them interested and then you can educate them. When you see these traveling on the roads, this is why, because they go 12 miles an hour, or 18
I think
miles an hour.
Having a tractor, and it doesn't have to be one of the giant ones, but having a tractor parked there during this event would be a fantastic idea.
Mhm.
And Tim, when you were introducing yourself, you forgot to mention that you were like the official tractor driver for the parade.
Oh, yes, indeed. So I've been in the town's 4th of July parade several
Gosh,
years
at
in a row
least
now.
3 times, I think, right?
Ray Henry's ridden with me one year
yeah,
and
at least one.
yep, I remember in
See, already there's good ideas. You get equipment, you get animals. I mean, you get somebody, you know, that does milk, that does beef, that does honey, that does maple syrup. You can find those people all over the place. And that'd be a big draw. I mean, people would learn about agriculture.
And so furthermore, Samantha, I think you're on the right track with like the awareness, but I think would be best is potentially maybe like a some sort of safety video if you had some sort of electronic device there, or just a piece of equipment parked there would probably be best. Out in public, I don't exactly like all kinds of people climbing on equipment. Just as in this day and age, I just don't, I just don't want anybody like climbing all over a piece of equipment, but I do value them walking about close to it and admiring it. I like that, just because not all, I don't know, how do I word it? I don't, in this day and age, I don't exactly want a ton of kids climbing on my piece of equipment, but I definitely would like to display it so where they could see it.
Well, and another thing that was put what it costs on there. Very few people know that a combine's $500,000. They don't have any idea of that. They think it just rides around. Those giant tractors are whatever they are, $300,000. It's just a good idea to educate. I mean, I think it's an unbelievable good opportunity to educate town residents.
What goes into growing an acre of corn or
Yeah.
other products.
Yeah, we have a lot of data on how much it costs to buy a bushel or a barrel or whatever. Forgive me, I don't use the right words, of corn, but yeah, how much does it cost you to grow it and harvest it? I think that's an interesting take on it.
Always the things that people want to know is what is it to them, right? So the statistic of what's the percent that your town taxes will go up if agriculture was not in the town, right? Not contributing to that section. Those are kind of numbers.
Yeah, we used the Ontario County, the ag, I don't know if it was the Ag Bureau or who did it, but years ago they did a whole economic report on agriculture in the county. And they had a statistic that was from like the municipality's point of view, how, in terms of like taxes and revenue and cost for services, it's cheaper for the town in terms of services to the resident to have agricultural lands than it is to have a residence.
I think it's so important to let people know how much time it takes to do an acre or whatever. How much
Another
time.
poster
Takes these
idea.
guys 30 seconds.
Oh, we're not
They
talking
roll over
about
that.
them.
Those roll that big stuff is pretty amazing.
Yes.
But it's great ideas. Like I'm just sitting here thinking, like Tim mentioned honey. Hungry Bear Farms is right out, they're a major supplier of bee equipment around our area and regionally. We could get a hold of them, bring in some stuff. They'll be happy to do that.
I bet they would, and they'll have a lot of ties to the county honey. I don't know what their
They're the
association is
local-
called,
Yeah, and
but the
honey
guy who
producers.
works there has ties with the county group, the association of, I don't know,
Beekeepers.
dairy, beekeepers.
They're by the old city dump, just down the road by the outlet there, by the
Oh, yeah.
outlet, yeah, right there.
Oh, so it's still in town.
It's in the town, right, which is even better, so.
Well, I think we're getting some good ideas, so if we get Lindsay here too to get some of her knowledge, we'll be headed on the right track.
And then like if you're talking for like maple, there's that Rocky Ridge maple that's on Route 21.
Yep.
So I'm sure they will want to be a part of it too.
That's a great idea.
before I forget, I should mention Mr. Gary Davis also rode with me 1 year in the 4th of July parade.
Yes,
Yep,
He
yeah, he
was,
did.
he was an important part of the
so
town.
sorely missed.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, if anybody else thinks of more ideas between now and the next meeting, make sure you write them down so you don't forget.
When is it
That's
next?
what I usually do is forget to write them down. and I forget about 'em.
I'm not sure of the date.
I can get that.
I mean, like for places for like promoting, a lot of people, local businesses or like local events come to the bank. And I mean, we get a lot of foot traffic in the bank, so that could be an area to put like a poster or something.
That would be great.
And we're doing like a fundraiser right now for Light Hill, so even just like putting a little table or something, that can work.
Your
It's
next
good to think
meeting
of
is,
those places that we don't normally.
did someone
That's
ask
why
when the next
you
meeting
brought
was? It's April
Always
13th.
good.
Yeah.
There we go. April 13th is next week.
Right,
April 13th.
April 13th, right.
All right, if we don't have anything else, I'll move that we adjourn.
Okay,
Thank you, everyone. Good
Nice to
have
meet
some-
everybody.
Have some new members, interested people,
good.
coming members.
Yep. Thanks for coming, Dave.
Oh, you bet. I'm gonna try to come from now on.
Good.
All right, thank you, Sarah.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Everyone.
Yeah.
All righty.
Good to see you, Tim.
Good to be seen. Thanks, Ray. I plan to be, I like to be there in person, but I wasn't able to make it there tonight, so I hopped on Zoom here.
If your dad will let you go,
Yeah, he would have let me go tonight, but I had some things I wanted to take care of, and I know that if I would have went in person, I would have been late. So I'd rather just hop on Zoom while I have the opportunity, and I'll just try to plan to be there in person next time. But however, when spring gets here, though, it might be a different story. Dad might not be able to be without me some evenings because we're gonna be busy, but you know, that's farming.
well, your sister will fill in for you.
Exactly, yep, and it's why we have a good team here. And if somebody's not there, we all fill in and keep each other informed.
All right.
Okay.
Good night.
Have a good one.
Well, good time.
Have a good one.